Hi everyone, welcome back to This Week in the Garden. A lot of you commented on last week's This Week in the Garden that you really enjoyed that type of video and would like to see more. So here I am back outside to share with you what I'm up to this week in the garden. Well, the name of the game this week has been managing the heat. Got another heat wave here in SoCal. This weekend is supposed to be in the triple digits, super hot. So I have got the entire hill, you can see right behind me here, covered in shade cloth. I was able to find a huge giant 20 by 30 piece of shade cloth on Amazon, and I put a bunch of really tall stakes up and down each side of the hill and was able to protect my vegetables from the heat. So if you live somewhere where it gets regularly over 90 degrees, which is a lot of places in the US or all across the world, you definitely want to protect your vegetables with shade cloth. Because what happens is the flowers and blossoms start drying up, dropping off, and then you're going to have much slower fruit set, and you're basically going to have to completely start over. So we've got the hill covered here in shade cloth. All around the garden, what I've been doing is removing the shade cloth in the morning because that way the plants do get some of the morning cooler type of sun, and then putting it up back in the afternoon. So you can see a big drape of shade cloth right there, which I use to cover all the containers here on the Smart Pots deck. So I've also been working on mulching everything to make sure that the garden beds have less water evaporation. But during the heat of the summer, you definitely want to check your garden a lot more often for watering. And it is pretty amazing how much cooler it stays under the shade cloth. I really like it under here. It's almost like a little tent. So let's go inside and check it out. One thing I've really been keeping up on this week too is the organic pest control, because when it gets hot, the spider mites really like to attack. So I've been spraying every 2 weeks, and this was my week to spray. So everything got sprayed down with my combination of neem, rosemary, and peppermint oil. The zucchini plants got sprayed down, all of my marigolds and zinnias, which are just starting to bloom. Oh my gosh, I love these zinnias. They're so colorful. So everything got sprayed down, and it actually smelled really good under here for several hours after I sprayed. That peppermint and neem oil and rosemary oil just smell amazing. We also got some really nice harvests of squash, and you might have seen that on our harvest video. And CameraGuy was able to grill up some super delicious veggies for the 4th of July.
Oh, this is going to be so good. I'm so glad that you guys came along and got to see all this. This was really great fun making it for you. It's July 4th. The place is growing crazy.
And in fact, we've got some more under here. Oh my goodness, that yellow crookneck grows so fast, so we'll definitely be harvesting more. And I've also been checking, you guys are going to want to do this for sure, been checking for the little suckers, pruning them off. Those little suckers are the little tomatoes, leaves that grow in between the armpit of a tomato plant. So you can get more fruit production if you come out and prune those little babies off. And that way all the energy goes into the branches that are actually flowering and producing the fruit. So let me just show you an overhead shot here. It's just so much cooler under here. In fact, I did another little test this week. It's about 10 to 15 degrees cooler under the shade cloth than it is out in the bright sun. So you can imagine how that protects the veggies, protects the flowers from drying up. They just don't do well in temperatures of over 90 degrees. Now, another thing I've been focusing on is really getting a new wave of vegetables started. So these cucumbers and squash have been going now for a couple of weeks, and they'll be planted out probably within the next few weeks. So we have a fresh new round at the end of the summer. And that's always a good idea because your summer crops are going to start kind of coming to the end of their life soon. You want to have a nice new round of veggies going in the late summer, early fall. And the late summer garden seed collection is a great one for that because it has 7 different varieties of quick growing vegetables like cucumbers, squash, there's some basil in there, some smaller dwarf varieties of zinnias, vegetables that go from seed to harvest in about 6 weeks so that you can have those nice late summer vegetables going still. One thing I am super excited about, I'm testing out a brand new product from Vermistera called Vitality. It's a super concentrated worm castings in a liquid form. It's amazing. Now, if you guys saw on my garden tour, a June garden tour, I mentioned that this garden bed with cucumbers was completely stunted, not growing, and I was getting ready to pull them out and put some of the new little seedlings in its place. Well, I applied the Vitality and it started growing again, lo and behold. So I'm super impressed. It's a brand new product. It's not out yet, but it will be out, I think they said, in 2021. As we head up the hill here, I just saw something that I have been dying for. This is the Golden Jubilee tomato. Just about ripe. I don't think it's quite ready yet, but it should be ready within a couple of days. So you can see here at the top of the hill, this is my herb garden, which you can tell I haven't done a whole lot on yet, but I definitely have plans to. So hang in there. I will be posting those videos within hopefully the next couple of weeks. Actually, let me head over to the container garden while I'm up here, and you guys can see some of the plants that I am growing for that video. And here's where the magic happens with CameraGuy's Grillin.
All right, you guys, come on in close. I don't want you to miss this. I want you to hear the sizzle. I want you to see the vegetables as they go on. Here they go from this morning's harvest from the garden grocery store, as CaliKim calls it. Here we go. Listen to this. Oh yeah.
Sizzle.
Faux shizzle.
Loving it, loving it. But here are some of the herbs I'm growing. Got some basil, some chamomile, oregano, lemon balm, some sage, rosemary, purple basil, some thyme, and some holy basil, a new one for me. So really looking forward to getting these planted in the herb garden. So let me know what herbs you're growing and how you like to use them too. Then headed down to the main part of the garden are these steps here, which we recently just put up a little fence extension, put some trellises here on the fence. I didn't get quite as much done on the red, yellow, splash of purple planter as I would have liked to this week. I did get a few things accomplished, and I really appreciate all of your suggestions. So let's go in for a closer look and I'll show you the progress. So one thing that I would really like to do is come up with kind of a better name for this area. So if you guys have any suggestions, please let me know. I did work on completely redoing the drip irrigation. It had a labyrinth of old hoses in it. The big, I think it's the 1-inch poly tubing was all over here. One thing I was able to get done was planting some peppers and tomatoes. So let's go in here. This is the yellow apple. All America Selections winner. I'm so excited about the yellow apple. It's in the shape of an apple, but it's a tomato. So imagine that. I went ahead and planted a Cherokee purple. So super excited to have that splash of purple in here with the red and yellow tomatoes. I think it's going to be so amazing. Also planted this jalapeno. This one's from the Spring Garden Seed Collection. So excited for some stuffed jalapenos. Let me know if you like those, what you like to stuff it with. Oh, this one is completely going to be a fun one. This is called a cherry bomb. And would you look at this here, guys? Isn't that going to be a fun pepper? So I've never grown cherry bomb before. Let me know if you have. So what I did to transplant them is I just very carefully dug them up from the veggie pod, had a hole waiting here in this garden bed, which I already had dug, amended with Vermistera worm castings, and then transplanted it. I think it was maybe 3 or 4 days ago. Now, another thing I'm excited about is my hanging basket idea. So this trellis also came in from Gardeners. Just put it up a couple days ago. I'm just kind of getting an eyeball here for how everything is going to look visually. Let me just step back so you guys can get a wider view. Went ahead and moved the wooden tower over to the left to kind of offset things. A lot of you suggested that would look nice, but I'm thinking about planting some artichokes. Never grown artichokes before, so I would definitely love to hear your feedback on that. I was able to pick up a couple of plants, and they're in my holding area in the veggie pod, so let me show you how those are looking. Artichoke plants I was able to find at a local garden center. They came in the little, I don't know, maybe 6-inch nursery pots. There were actually 3 or 4 plants in each little pot. So I split them apart, and they're already seeing great growth here. This is actually just one pot right there, and then the other pots I split apart. But having never grown artichokes before, I need to study up and learn more about them. Super, super excited about it. And from what I understand, The bees absolutely love the flowers. So I know I don't have room for all of these, but I will definitely let one flower and then grow one for the artichoke. So please let me know any of your artichoke growing tips. These white plastic crates have been in here for 5 years, falling apart. So I've got brand new crates there. I've got the Smart Pots crate liners in. I started filling it with soil, but then I just ran out of time. One thing I've really been focusing on this week in the garden is gardening just for the fun of it. I mean, life gets stressful and I so enjoy coming out here every single day, seeing how things have grown, harvesting, picking vegetables, just some stress relief and enjoying the beauty around me and just the satisfaction of knowing that I'm growing my own vegetables, providing for my family, and just having so much fun doing it. Okay guys, I have got to show you this Ikebana eggplant. I think we might have shown it on our harvest video this week, our 4th of July harvest. It is growing, seriously, every time I come out here I think it's a little bit longer. What a beautiful, beautiful vegetable. That is definitely ready for harvest, so stay tuned for some pictures on my Instagram. You can tell eggplant are ready for harvest when they have this beautiful, nice purple sheen, and that one definitely does. There are a couple more coming on here. I am so hungry for grilled eggplant. Make sure you do stay tuned to my Instagram. I post a lot of daily updates over there. California Wonder is ready to harvest. Almost ready to harvest. The okra growing like crazy. Well, if you joined us for our 4th of July harvest, we harvested a crookneck squash from the Smart Pots right behind me. And I like to keep the squash coming, as I've been mentioning throughout the past couple of weeks. So I did plant some new squash seeds in that Smart Pots and also in the big bag long bed that is right behind me there. And look at that. I think that's another apple yellow tomato. It has grown like crazy this week. It's always so much fun to see the growth. Well, you guys, thanks so much for joining me for the 2nd episode of This Week in the Garden. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please let me know what you're up to this week in the garden in your garden. Wish me luck, guys. It is going to be a hot one this week in the garden. So we'll be back next week for a 3rd episode of This Week in the Garden. Mac and I will. Hope you guys have a great week. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.